Today I'll be taking a look at one of the latest IEMs from Simgot, the Supermix 4. It's an IEM that contains 4 different drivers, hence the number 4 in the naming. The goal of this video is to inform you on the sound profile of the Supermix along with the build, comfort, and a bit on the tech stuff. I will also compare this to both the Simgot EA1000 and the recently popular Meze Alba. Lastly, I've invited Bree on to give you her thoughts on the Supermix as well, so make sure to stick around for that. It's also safe to say that by the time I was finished telling you all of this, another sub $200 IEM has already hit the market. But let's focus on the Supermix first. What's cracking, everyone? My name is Ryan, and this is the Supermix 4. It's a hybrid driver configuration IEM from Simgot, and it retails in at $150. Before I tell you more about this beauty, I'd like to send a big thank you to Simgot, who sent over the Supermix 4 in exchange for all of my thoughts and opinions. As always, those thoughts and opinions are of my own. I've not been asked to say anything particular about this IEM. Now, the Supermix 4 is made up of a translucent black resin shell and has this really cool eclipse design on the matte metal faceplate. It's very smooth to the touch, lightweight, and has an ergonomic design. In fact, Simgot has said that they went through extensive 3D ear data in order to come up with how this shell is shaped. Now, before I talk comfort, it's important to know what's inside the shell. Well, that would be a hybrid driver configuration of 1 dynamic driver, 1 balanced armature driver, 1 planar driver, and 1 piezoelectric transducer. All of that comes together for just 7.5 ohms of impedance and 120 dB of sensitivity. Now, though it's low on impedance, it's not quite as sensitive as you might think, but I am. So quit judging me, damn it. Now, lastly, this does have a 2-pin connection to the shell and includes a 3.5mm unbalanced copper silver plated cable. You're also going to get 1 set of translucent white silicone tips, a black case that has this classy gold zipper on it. I like it. Just like I like the color of the box. Bree likes the color of the box, and she liked the case too, and that was just way too many likes. Hey, that's a perfect segue to remind you to like and subscribe to the channel, and I also have a Patreon if you would like to support the channel and join my Telegram chat. I'd also like to thank all of my Patreon subscribers so far and take you back to the video. Fit and comfort wise, as always, is going to be pretty subjective, but I can tell you this fits my ears like a glove. It is snug, but not so tight that it creates discomfort. Simgot really did a great job creating this IEM for my ears. I mean, they didn't really create it for my ears, but kind of feels like they did. I've been able to wear this IEM for long periods of time with no discomfort at all, and the seal, well, it's damn good. So I ran this IEM through my typical gear, which consists of the Cayin RU7, the iBasso DC Elite, and the Schiit Midgard with the Modius E DAC on my desktop. Now, all of my music is streamed through Tidal, and I do use Roon as my in-house server for all of my music. As I mentioned earlier, this isn't as sensitive to volume as you may think, so I was able to listen without any issues from any of my gear. Simgot is not afraid to put measurements right on their box, and you'll notice quickly that this is a harmonish type tuning, but a bigger emphasis on that bass. Now, I can definitely agree and confirm that this does have some addictive and lusty sub-bass extension. It has rumble, but also control. I find it to be a tight response, and because it tapers off as it moves into the upper ranges, it doesn't bleed. That means the lower mids will be a bit lean as it travels through. However, they've done a nice job to tune the upper mids to treble back up a bit to give you attack, vocal focus, and enough details to not lose out on the biggest part of music, mid-range. Now, the treble is done very tastefully in my opinion. It dips enough so that I didn't pick up sibilance or too much spice. It has a smoothness to it without being dark. What would a sound profile help with if I didn't provide some examples? So the first track that I really think puts all of this together in a super mix kind of way is the track I Can't Stand the Rain by Woonsang. Now at the start, you get this bass instrument here that digs down very low. The lower it gets, the fuller you hear and feel the bass. It has rumble, but textured control. Then her voice beams through like a straight laser through a stick of butter, for all you sci-fi fans who like to shoot lasers at butter. This showcases that upper mid focus and also separates the artist from the instrument. I didn't get peakiness from her voice, but it was for sure a bit forward in nature. Then around the 2-minute mark, the track really picks up with drums and cymbals and instruments that show off how the mid-range is not void. Now, another quick example of how the mids can be a tad lean is the track Mr. Blue Sky by ELO. This track is always one I listen to with any piece of gear that I test. That fire hydrant sound that they used doesn't clang quite as pronounced. This tells me that the 1K region is not overly exaggerated. The rest of the track is still just as fun and engaging for me to listen to, so there is that. Then there's the track What You Gonna Do About Me by Buddy Guy featuring Beth Hart. Now, here's an example of male to female vocals in the same track to compare. I pick up a bit more definition on the male vocals with this IM, and I do think that is due to the bigger emphasis in the lows. Still, Beth Hart has this growl, and I love how that comes through with her voice here. The electric guitar doesn't stab or pierce either, which is nice, so I didn't get fatigued by it. Now for imaging and staging, I sampled live performances and gaming. I think imaging is pretty good, maybe not quite as technically sound as other IEMs, but I wouldn't rate it as a negative. It's not the most holographic of an image or deepest depth, but for the price, I'm okay with that. Now staging is wide enough as well to where I could see this IEM being a fun one to game with, and yeah, I did. I played a bit of Hunt Showdown because I love the sound engine of that game. It was pretty fantastic. I got scared and I ran away like a little girl. So my first comparison was to the bigger brother, or maybe cousin, if you want to call it that, the Simgot EA1000. Now the EA1000 I believe does win in the technical department, but it is a bit bitier. I felt a bit more weight and fullness to some notes, but it doesn't have that big and full extension of the bass like the Supermix. In fact, of the 3 IEMs I compared here, I found the EA1000 to be the weakest in the sub-bass department. Now that was with any of the tuning nozzles, in case you were wondering. I do believe it handles all of the mid-range better and provides the fullest response of mids to upper bass. Now the trade-off again is just it can be a bit too bright and harsh for some. Then we have the Meze Alba. For that, I'll let Bree chime in, since the Alba is her personal favorite IEM that happens to be priced almost exactly the same as the Supermix 4. Take it away, Bree.
Hey guys, I really enjoyed listening to the Supermix 4. I actually find they are very similar to the Alba, which is my personal favorite. They do have a little bit of a bigger shell, but I found that they're actually very comfortable in my smaller ears, so I enjoyed that. And Ryan and I both agree that we kind of like this little eclipse looking kind of design that they have. It's really cool. As far as the sound goes, they are very similar to the Alba. I would say I like the Alba just a little bit more because it has a little bit more brightness, which I like in my music because I like a lot of clarity and definition. But overall, they are fantastic and they are packed with a lot of bass.
So let me know in the comments down below if you have a go-to IEM in this price range. If so, what is it? Why is it your favorite? Do you think this makes a compelling case as a contender? Personally, I think it does. Now I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting much just due to how many of these IEMs are flooding the market, but I've been pleasantly surprised. Now that's to say that this IEM does fit my personal preferences pretty well, which is what it's all about at the end of the day. Now I want to thank all of you for taking the time to check out my thoughts on the Supermix 4. I'd love if you would consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.